What's up team, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. We are checking out the Brave Man Wins Special Forces selection in Latvia. This has been recommended by a few of you, so hopefully you enjoy it. As always, please check out the original video in the description. And if you could like, share and subscribe to Combat Ready HQ, I'd hugely appreciate it. And head over to Combat Ready HQ to check out our amazing coffee blends and some of our merchandise. But let's get into the video. And as always, please comment below with what your thoughts are and what you want to see next.
It's 4 AM at a military training facility outside Riga in Latvia. These men have been chosen after completing a grueling 6-month pre-selection process. Over the next few weeks, they'll face tasks designed to break them both physically and mentally.
Mūsu kurs nav ne grūtāks, atlases ne vieglāk par to, kādas tas ir labākajām speciālo spēku vienībām pasaulē. Bet jūs to varat, jūs to izdarīsiet, un tikai jūs paši sev varat pateikt nē.
So straight away, they've already done a 6-month pre-selections. That's a very long time. That's half a year. And now they've actually got to go on to the selection. Special Forces, if you want to join them, you need to be prepared to dedicate your life and a lot of time to it. Brave Man wins. I like that.
It's the end of the recruitment phase. But those that do will become elite soldiers, the Special Forces. Their motto, the Brave Man Wins.
Really good motto.
Due to the sensitive nature of their work, the recruits and instructors in this film will remain anonymous. They will be referred to only by their role or the number they're assigned.
We don't train them, we test them. So we look that they are able to perform in under extreme conditions. That's what we are looking for during the selection.
Situated in between Lithuania and Estonia, Latvia makes up one of the 3 Baltic states. To its east is Latvia's other neighbours, Belarus and Russia. Formed in the early 90s after the fall of the Soviet Union when Latvia won its independence, the Latvian Special Forces, like those in other countries, are considered elite soldiers. Their operations, almost always covert, include counter-terrorism, search and rescue, sea landings, underwater missions, attack and detention, and airborne operations.
So that's obviously very similar to pretty much majority of Special Forces units out there. Your sort of top tier Special Forces units in most nations now. Counter-terrorism, going to be doing airborne operations, going deep behind enemy lines, missions and countries that you've most probably not even heard of or don't know that actually in. It's all the standard sort of stuff.
It's something you can be proud of and let your parents and your family be proud of as well.
The recruits will train under the toughest conditions, and the forests, which make up more than 40% of Latvia's terrain, are the ideal training ground. They'll be put through tasks called phobia tests, designed to challenge their fears and push their endurance to the limit.
Cilvēks, viņam ir tendence izdzīvot un vienkārši to spied, un tu zini, ka nākamajā pārbaudījumi būs tādi paši, ka tu spiedīs tik tālu, ka tu vienkārši cīnīsies, lai izdzīvot.
Deprived of food and sleep and under intense stress, some of them will quit.
We look for soldiers who are able to think under duress, who are able to work individually as well as a part of the team. Are they able to struggle with themselves?
There'll be no easy rides. The instructors have been through this process themselves and are all Special Forces operatives. But for these recruits, the hard work starts now.
As always, they're looking for the thinking soldier. Can you think on your feet? Can you think under pressure? Can you work on your own on a sort of surveillance job? Can you work in a small team? Are you able in that small team to plan that mission? They're not going to plan it for you. They're just going to go, you need to do this. That's what happens in Special Forces. You need to do this, get from here to here, conduct this. This is your end goal. Go away and plan. The thinking soldier. It's not like the regular army where an officer comes in, plans it all and tells you what you're going to do. You as a team are going to plan it. What kit do we need? What weapons do we need? How are we going to do it? How are we going to insert? They'll tell you what assets you can pretty much have, and you're going to go away and plan it. the shit hits the fan, can you deal with it on your own? You're behind enemy lines, away from a lot of help.
To be a member of the Special Forces, a soldier must have ability, courage, endurance, and physical and mental stamina. For these Latvian recruits, the next 3 weeks will shape their professional future. If they demonstrate these attributes and pass a number of phobia tests, they will become part of the Latvian military's elite unit. The first task tests their ability to keep calm in a claustrophobic environment. Blinded in a taped-up gas mask, they must negotiate swamps, woodland, and a 20-foot underground tunnel. Their only guidance is the man in front.
So taking away one of the senses.
Complete silence,
I've not seen this before.
except for occasional machine gun fire.
I think I had the anxiety in every single tunnel, but in a positive way, like a problem you want to handle. Not like, oh, I'm gonna get stuck and I'm gonna stay here forever. No, not like that. It's just a small minor thing you have to go through, and that's all.
So this is a great way of testing someone's phobia, because one, you're taking away the senses so you can't see, but also when you add in a respirator, you really struggle to breathe. Okay, so then you start to panic. If you start to panic, your breathing gets worse, and in a respirator, it gets a lot worse. So being able to remain calm, talk yourself out of it, is really demanding here, and you need to be able to do it. So one, taking away the senses of not being able to see, but also taking away that sort of breathing, the oxygen is going to obviously heighten it and make it a lot worse.
For some, though, it is too much. Handling the tough physical challenges that the training places on the body is part of the process. Recruits are expected to push through the pain barrier. If they can't, there is only one alternative.
If the soldier want to quit, we give them 5 minutes just to think, and during these 5 minutes, he made a decision to quit, so we do not help them.
Tagad vai nu tu pasaki, es izstājos no mācību grupas, vai nu tu turpini uzdevumu?
Izstājos.
Skaļāk.
Es izstājos no mācību grupas.
Ļoti labi.
Very interesting. Normally on these sorts of courses, like SOF, you're just gone.
It continues. They follow a rope into a hangar where they must wriggle under floorboards, over walls, and through jagged holes. If they get stuck, there's no sympathy from the instructors.
Jesus.
We want that they perform everything in high standards according to our orders.
Over the next few days, the recruits are put through their paces in a number of other phobia tests. First, a 50-foot jump. One by one, each recruit climbs to the top of a bridge, is strapped into a harness, and must walk along a ledge to the jump spot. From there, they have 1 minute to leap from the bridge. It's not just the height that they have to deal with. If they get their jump wrong, the snap of the rope could cause serious injury. But those that get it right are through to the next challenge. The smoke test.
What's this?
Saprotu, ka tu resursi iet uz beigām un ka tu esi uz tās robežas. Un tu visu laiku strādā tikai uz tās robežas, un lai tu nesalūzīs kādā brīdī, nebūs viss, ka tu nevari vairs.
A new day brings a new challenge, the aggression test. Recruits must step into the ring with Special Forces operatives and take a beating. Heavily padded, many try to fight back, but most pummel onto the canvas.
We try to improve their qualities, which is endurance, speed, strength, and mental stamina.
Also, can you handle getting hit in the face? Like, as soon as people get hit, sometimes they sort of freeze. like run away? Can you get hit, think, and still stand your ground? Because it makes a huge difference of when you get contacted or something happens, what you're going to do when someone punches you in the face, basically, when you get hurt, when you get contacted.
The recruits are tired and hungry. They eat twice a day, and to sleep more than 2 hours, they have to earn it.
Mums bija jārisina uzdevumi vakaros, vai te bija matemātikas, vai uz atmiņu. Skanēja vārdi 40 minūtes, vai 15 minūtes, un jās varēja uzrakstīt. Un bija dzējoli, šo jāmācās. Mēs to ar to varēsim nopelnīt mieru.
Finally, it's the swimming pool.
The old drown proofing.
Fobijām man bija ūdens. Ūdens bija grūtākais, kad bija jāpildies kompleksiem vingrinājumiem. Es iet tām acīm kājām. Tu vienkārši sevi, domā jau uz priekšu, kas varētu notikt, sevi šaustīgi. Tad bija baigi grūti, bija jāsaņemās.
Recruits are repeatedly pushed underwater. When they resurface, their hands and legs bound, they are pushed back to the bottom of the pool. For some, there is only so much they can take.
Real panic.
Tas vairāk bija laikam, kas sakrājās. Sev sākot ar to baseinu, sev piesim parasti jau tās lietas, vienmēr izpild kaut kā viegli, un tad bija šoreiz grūtāk, sakrās līdz kādam brīdim, tad vienkārši pārgas.
For number 27, the game is up.
A lot of people would struggle to survive that.
Each Special Forces recruit has just 2 chances to pass the selection phase. Those that fail this year can, if they choose, try again the following year. But fail again and they're out for good.
Man tālāk nākotnes plāni izmantot otru iespēju šajā atlases posmā, ko es noteikti izmantošu, ieanalizēšu savus kļūdas un mācīšos no tām, centīšos iziet atlases posmu nākamā.
The more those left standing have passed the phobia tests, the hardest is yet to come. Winters in Latvia can drop below -20 degrees Celsius. Latvia's woodlands are largely uninhabited, but for the next 9 days, the Special Forces recruits will call them home.
Look at that, that's cold.
Survival phase.
Tad izdzīvošana mums ir ļoti elementāra. Mēs skatāmies 2 punktus. Vai cilvēks cīnās un dzīvo, vai cilvēks necīnās un mirst. Viss.
The recruits must survive alone and unaided for the duration of the exercise. Each day, items of clothing and equipment are taken from them until they are virtually naked.
No way.
Tā kā lielākās problēmas varbūt sagādāt tieši augsts.
So they're actually stripped completely naked.
Tu nevar iziet ārā pilnvērtīgi staigāt un visu darīt.
To test their survival skills and overcome mental barriers, each recruit is given a live rabbit. What they do with it is up to them.
Lai gan viņš ir fiziski spēcīgs, lai gan viņš ir domājošs, bet tie noguruma cilvēks, kā viņa tā kā aiztaisās, prāts ciet, smadzenes ciet.
The rabbits rarely survive.
I was going to say,
They cook the meat and turn the fur into clothing. No parts of the rabbit are wasted.
I'm guessing they eat them.
Ja ir siltums un ir nedaudz ko ēst un ir ūdens, kā varēs redzēt varbūt ārā, var paskatīties, tad viss tev priekš dzīvošanas ir.
In these conditions, fire and shelter are vital. They must use natural materials to build a temporary home, some of which are better than others.
Arī darīs pabeigt šādu tādu uzlabojumu, ka jāveic un viss. Un tu visu dari, kad ir gaišs, tad, kad ir saule, un tad tikai naktī to atliek izdzīvot.
The recruits who make it through the survival phase have demonstrated that they have what it takes to be part of the Latvian Special Forces.
Mūs interesē cilvēki, kas grib uzdrīkstēties, darīt kaut ko vairāk. Viņš ir kreatīvs, viņš ir ārprātīgs, viņš ir spēcīgs, viņam ir galva uz pleciem, viņš ir domājošs.
It's taken the survival exercise to the extreme.
Over the past few weeks, these recruits have been through a process that has pushed them to the limits, both physically and mentally.
It was long, it was challenging, it was overall good because I made it.
They'll now face another 6 months of training before they become field operatives. Those that failed, if they choose, can go through it again next year. Those that passed have proven the brave man wins.
The brave man wins. That's what I mean. They've got another 6 months training. If you're looking to go special forces, special operations, be prepared to give up a lot of your life, especially during the selection phase. You need to train for selection. You then got to conduct selection. Once you've conducted selection, you've then got to go on to sort of continuation training, build up training before you're even at a standard to go out on ops with these guys. It's a long process. So be prepared for that. Make sure you train hard for it. It's always great to see how other sort of nations, special forces, regular forces, whatever it is, conduct training. Some of it's very sort of common. You see a lot of the same stuff, but sort of done differently. The phobia tests, quite a good way of obviously testing someone's ability to think under pressure, under sort of high amounts of stress. Taking away the senses, so you're allowed to take sort of like one senses away, but they put the respirator on, which makes it harder to breathe. So when you start to get nervous, panic, you start panicking, you start breathing a lot more. It's harder to breathe on a respirator, so then you start panicking even more. Can you bring yourself down? A lot of sort of top tier units that I see, once you quit, you quit. With here, they give you another chance. You get 5 minutes to think about it. Don't see that very common in a lot of special forces units, because as soon as you say you've quit, you've given up. These give them a second opportunity. Sometimes, yeah, that could work. Maybe they just need that moment, learn to handle that stress, get over it, and then they're back in the game. So that's just how the Latvians do it. You always see some sort of aggression test, fighting, hand-to-hand combat, milling, boxing, whatever it is, to see how you can sort of turn on the aggression, turn off the aggression. Can you handle getting punched in the face? And then the rest is sort of very similar throughout. Very little sleep, a lot of physical training, a lot of sort of high rope tests. So testing someone's sort of courage at altitude. Remember, a lot of special forces do sort of parachuting, maybe out on the mountains, whatever it is. So how do you deal with heights? How's your courage and how's your command? So when someone tells you to do something, even though it could hurt you, it could endanger you, do you still react on that command? You're going to go behind enemy lines. Over there, someone may shoot at you. Someone tells you to move. Are you going to move when they tell you to move, or are you going to sort of wait and freeze? So those are sort of very similar tests. Yeah, really enjoyed that video. It's great to see how the sort of Latvians do it. Like I said, some of it's very different. People crawling around with respirators on, blindfolded. Like that guy went in on him as well when he messed up. Then he whacked him in the back of the head or the back, and then he was kicking him. Does that happen throughout the military? Yeah. Does it happen a lot more than people think? Yes. This is how the Latvians do it. They don't hold back. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that video. I really did. Definitely have to find something else on the Latvians. They do, like I said, they do things slightly different. This whole respirator moving around, the survival training where you're out for 9 days, but the longer you're out, the more items of clothing you lose, and then you're literally stripped naked and you've just got to survive. That's a great way of doing it if you're in a special forces unit, because you could end up in that situation where you literally are in the middle of nowhere, whether it's extremely hot, extremely cold, and you're having to survive and evade the enemy until you're picked up. So the sort of SEER is very popular in all special forces units. I think they just all do it differently, and the Latvians do it this way. So that was very interesting to watch. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.